Government is all about control. As a matter of fact, that's what the word government literally means. It comes from two Latin words, governo and mentis. Governo means to govern or to control, and mentis means mind, to control the mind or mind control. It's all about controlling you. They want to control you for their purposes, and they use politics to do it. Politics is nothing more, nothing less. And if you look at it practically, politics is the clever art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding the chains of their own enslavement. Because government functionaries are smart. They know they can't push us too far, because if they push us too much, too soon, there's going to be a revolution, and then they'll lose their power, at least for a time. But they have to push us enough so that we can be tax cattle for them, so that we can fund their wars and all their projects that they make all this money on for the bankers. Because keep in mind, and that's why the left versus right paradigm is so important for them. Because if you and I are bickering among each other, if I say I'm a Democrat or a Republican and you say you're a Democrat or a Republican, we're against each other, and we're constantly going to the voting booth thinking that we're going to get the hope and change that we've been longing for, on one level or another, one shade or another is offering you hope and promising you change. Obama did it, Reagan did it, Nixon did it, Ford did it, the Bushes did it, Clinton did it. Hope and change. I'm the guy that you want in office so that I can secure more of your freedoms, and then it never happens. Matter of fact, more of your freedoms are taken away. More of your income is taken away. Less power goes to you, and more power goes to the state. So what the politicians do is they write these things called laws. They call them laws, but look, a man cannot create a legitimate law. Laws have always been here and will always be here before mankind and after mankind. They are immutable. They are eternal. They are fixed and founded on truth. Not so with man-made laws. Now, what I just described was natural law. Not so with man-made laws. Man-made laws, the politicians' laws, it's just the law, it's the opinion of a politician backed by the threat of force. What comes with every single law? If you break this law, you've sinned against the church called the state and the God called government. You've sinned against government. You've sinned against the state. You've broken the laws of the priests called the politicians. So first and foremost, it must be recognized that the government is here to suppress truth. And that's why Bastiat said the state or government is that great fiction by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. It's based in the suppression of truth. They hold down the truth while they promote the lie. And what are these lies? The lie is that it's okay for them to steal from you, but if you do it, well, then it's illegal and it's immoral. If I'm a government agent, I can pull you over and extract your wealth. I can be a roadside pirate, and it's okay for me to do. But if you do the same actions that government does, you would rightly be called a criminal because you've left a real victim. By the way, that's another term we're going to talk about in a second, the word crime. But if you do the same actions that government does, you are literally immoral. You are literally a criminal, and you do deserve to be punished. Now let's talk about the word crime. It used to be that a real crime left a real victim. You either damaged somebody's property or you harmed somebody physically. You committed a crime. You've left a real injured party, an injured person. You either took something from them, damaged their property, or you hurt them in some way. No longer is that the definition of crime. It's the true definition of crime. Where there's no victim, there can be no crime. That is the truth. But the fantasy world of government says that you disobeyed the politician's commands. And one of the best examples that you can give for that is the prohibition. 1 minute before midnight, before they enacted prohibition, it was okay for you to drink whiskey and to sell whiskey and to have whiskey. But when the clock struck 12 o'clock, 12 midnight, because the politicians declared it to be illegal at 12 o'clock, starting on this day. 1 minute prior, everything was okay, and now you're a criminal because some politician said so? What magic is this? The state is that great fiction, and you have to believe it. for it to work. The moment we stop believing it and just start believing in good old common sense and truth, government starts losing its power. And government does not want to lose its power. They will do everything they can to maintain and retain that power and acquire more power and more wealth and more oil and more gold and more silver. They want to dominate to the point where they'll steal from you, and when you try to preserve the wealth that you yourself created through your time and your laboring energies, you're trying to keep your wealth, you're trying to keep it from getting stolen, they call you a criminal, they call you a tax evader. That's how insane this world is, guys. Theft is theft. Whether you wear a uniform, a badge, and a gun, and you come with the authority of the state or not, if you steal something, if you pull somebody over and you extract their wealth through codes violations or writing a ticket, you have done that which is immoral. You can try to fool other men if you want to, but if you're a policy enforcer, if you're a politician, if you're a law enforcer, a policy enforcer, you're doing that which is immoral and is not in accordance with the truth. You are trying to suppress the truth, and you're trying to promote the lie that is government, that is politics. And that's just the flat out truth. The government says it's okay. The government says, oh, it's war. We're going to have to enter into war. We're going to have to teach those Arabs a lesson. We're going to have to march into Syria. We're going to have to go into Iraq, now Iran, Afghanistan, and tell those people that American might shall prevail. And then we start these wars. Well, we call them wars, but war is just a euphemism for mass murder. And that's why I say politics is the clever art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding their own enslavement, because they use euphemisms. They water down the meaning so that it's more acceptable to you. So they're duping you. And you demand it. Oh, I want the roads. So the only way to get roads, obviously, is to have enforcers violate other people's rights and steal money from them so that we can have the coffers filled, so that we can have these nice pothole-ridden roads, or these schools that don't teach kids what they're supposed to be teaching them. They're graduating, getting out of 12th grade, unable to read, unable to do basic math, and then we got to introduce Common Core and dumb everything down because our policies aren't working and we're wasting a whole bunch of money. Government is a fantasy. It's an immoral fantasy, and people are buying into it. And another thing that governments do is they employ the Hegelian dialectic to keep people in line, to keep stirring up that fear. Problem, reaction, solution. They create a problem, wait for the fear-based response of the masses, and it's predictable. It's very predictable. These social engineers aren't stupid people. So they create and manufacture this problem, wait for the fear-based reaction, and then they step in to provide you with the solution that they already planned as they were creating the problem. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution. And then the government goes, well, see, look at all these problems. We need to increase taxation so that we can have the TSA, $9 billion a year. So what if they fail 95% of their own government-initiated red team tests? That means 95% of guns and bombs, all these explosives, make their way onto departing flights because TSA is nothing more than security theater. And that's why William Pitt the Younger said, necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedoms. It's the argument of tyrants. It's the creed of slaves. The left versus right paradigm is one of the biggest tools, if not the biggest tool, in the government toolbox. And they pull it out constantly, and we constantly keep falling for it. Like bait on a hook, we just bite, and they reel us in every single time. So government is a fiction, and they operate on two key principles. They need to deprive you of power so that they can collect that power for themselves. So it's a power transfer. When they create these laws, it's a transfer of power every single time. It's a mind game. Remember, government's mind control. And the second thing they're creating these laws for is so that they can increase their coffers. Because if you sin against the state, well, you must be punished. You must be caged. You must be fined. And that's how they create wealth. So I wanted to boil all these terms down. It's very important that we understand what politics is. It's very important that we understand what government is. It's very important that we understand what freedom is, and we need to stop letting our freedoms go. We need to gird up the loins of our minds, so to speak. We need to understand what it is that we do. Like Mencius said, to act without clear understanding, to form habits without investigation, to travel a path all one's life without knowing where it really leads, such is the behavior of the multitudes. And guys, believe me, the masses do not know where they're going. Yeah, they could be intellectually smart, but if they're going for government and they believe government is the answer to our problems, when it is the problem itself, they're not spiritually in tune. They're not in tune to truth.